Welcome to our second live stream of going through our early records. This one is our Shades of Grey EP, and we're glad you guys have joined us. We're looking forward to playing these songs for you. We got Chris Donahue back here on bass again.
Hey, Chris.
And Steve and Dan, myself, Lisa's in the back moderating. So we're all good. And remember to, we've got the tip jar, so you can go to PayPal or Venmo, and it's right there, and we appreciate it. So yeah, we're going to start into Shades of Grey EP.
All right. Are you guys ready? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Surround your way, and when the tinted pane is shattered for all time, and the clouds will vanish from your face. All that I want to do is to fade into you. All that I want to feel is your fire unconcealed. All that I want to hear is your voice in my ear. All that I want to do is to fade into you. When we come as children, you give us all we darkness veils your eyes, and when the night is gone and the light is sown like seed, we'll melt into a golden sky. All that I want to do is to fade into you. All that I want to feel is your fire unconcealed. Your voice in my ear. All that I want to do is to fade into you. To fade into you, and all that I want to feel is your fire unconcealed. All that I want to hear is your voice in my ear. All that I want to do is to fade into. All that I want to do is to fade into you, and all is your fire unconcealed. All that I want to hear is your voice in my ear. All that I want to do right, thank you.
Pretty good, you guys.
Pretty good, not bad.
It's been a while since we played that song.
Yeah, it has been a while, a long time.
By the third gig, we'll be pretty good.
Yeah, we will. The last gigs are always the better to come to on the tour. So,
except for the first gigs are unlike any other.
true.
So this is unlike any other thing. So
Yeah.
we're going to try to answer some questions. Some people, we put out that we're going to answer some questions. When we're doing this thing, we can't read them, so people have done it in advance. So a lot of people ask all the time about 15 Doors, if it's a true story. 15 puertas is what it is. I worked in a hardware store way back then, from the time I was 17 till I was 26, in a store in Los Nietos, California. And
You sound like on Saturday Night Live when they're doing it, the white guy's doing it, and all of a sudden when he says a Spanish word, he goes into the accent.
so Los Angeles, right? Well, I did know I could speak Spanish, anything that was in a hard, because of Spanish-speaking areas, so I had to learn everything in a hardware store in Spanish.
Like what's a hammer?
El martillo.
El
A hammer, el martillo, or clavos is nails, and las bisagras, what's that? Hinges, right? Right, see. Yeah, so, and they had animals too, so like comida, like food, we sold food, comida para los conejos, rabbits, or pollitos, little chickens, So anyway, I was making keys there, and like in hardware stores, you make keys, and I would do that, llaves. And some guy brought in, had me make a new set of car keys for him, and he was telling me how last night, he says, I locked my keys in my car, and back then, when you'd lock yourself out, you'd get a coat hanger. Do people do that anymore? No, they don't do that. You did those old cars, you'd get a coat hanger and get it, and you'd pull up the thing. We all had to do that from time to time. So this guy said, I needed a coat hanger, and it was like midnight. And he says, I was trying to get help, and he says, I knocked on 15 doors. Nobody would answer. He's like, why don't people help each other anymore? So yeah, that's what inspired this song. There you go. Yeah. See if I can play this Stuart Copeland beat here. 1, 2.
Saw somebody in the window, a light on in the hall. Could have stepped inside for one moment and give my wife a telephone call. So sorry to alarm you. Don't harm you. Don't call the night patrol. Just look at me shaking in the midnight cold. I've been knocking on 15 doors. Come to me in the morning and say, how do you do? Will you stand and stare and wonder, 'cause I don't remember you. I said once I was a stranger, once I was in need, but you hid behind the door and left me shaking on your front porch. I've been knocking on 15 doors. I think I hit a little bad note in that one.
Yeah.
Something like that.
You struggled just a little bit on that.
I'll take responsibility. for it.
You'll own it?
I'll own it. It's been a long time since we played that song, for sure.
Yeah. It's a little high, right? It's a little,
Yeah, I was in puberty, I think, at that point when we recorded this record.
yeah, it might have been.
Because I was really high voice.
Do you want me to sing the next one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So one thing about this EP is this is where Dan really, you had been in the band after we recorded our first records when you got in the band.
Yeah, right after Voices and Shadows.
But this is the one where you really kind of came into the whole thing.
Yeah,
the recording process and everything else.
It's like the first time I ever recorded on a record, you know, so that was like an incredible experience just to be able to play the instrument that I, you know, had uniquely kind of adopted over the years and then play tenor sax, you know, on Tears Don't Fall. So that was awesome.
Yeah. And you had this really unique instrument that we loved the minute you first pulled it out.
Right. Yeah. So the original name for what I'm playing here is called a lyricon. Lyricon. I think it's like Latin for lips and music. You know, lips and song. And so this is what I'm playing on right now, which is called an EWI, EWI. And nothing moves on it. There's no moving parts. They're just like little touch pads. And you blow into it, and it actually the wind goes through the instrument and comes out the bottom here and triggers the sounds that I have in my synthesizer. Now, the original one that I started playing is this one here, which is called a Lyricon 2. And this one had moving parts, just like a sax. Like, it has like the keys on it, made out of ivory, just like a sax. Little octave keys. There's actually a reed here, and that's how you bent your notes. There's like a little transducer in here that did it. And man, the first time I saw one played was on public access television in Garden Grove, California. There was this band called Kitty Hawk, which was two guys that played Chapman stick. One guy played fretless guitar, and this guy, Richard Elliott, who's kind of my mentor, I took lessons from him, played sax and lyricon on it, and he played it exactly how I heard in my head. He was playing the way I always wanted. I was like a jazz guy, you know, and fusion and stuff like that, but they played more like rock and used the instrument, used the saxophone less like a solo and more like a melodic instrument. So when I saw this guy playing this lyricon, I freaked out, and I found out the guy who invented it in like Compton, Massachusetts, and called him. He sent it out to me, and yeah, it's been what it is since.
It's monophonic, right?
Yeah. This is an old analog one. Yeah, an analog thing, and then you would get the different sounds by pressing the buttons and dials, and just weird like that.
It was the wildest thing. People would always gather around you after and go, "What is that?
Yeah.
You're like the Pied Piper."
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Why did you quit playing it?
Well, because it's analog, and it can't get any other sounds other than the couple that are kind of it's famous for right there. So I started picking up the digital one that plays MIDI, so I can sound like a cello or a trumpet or the original Lyricon sound and get that kind of echoey thing. So yeah, it just stopped working on me and just started playing out of tune, and that's why I got this one here. So I need to stay up on my sound plugins. So if you would be so kind as to...
oh, there you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
What did I just do there? See? So we have it. We got the old money train here. This is going to get me a really good plug-in for Diamonds and Rain. Next week.
Yeah, if you actually take a quarter and stick it in your phone, it'll end up in that jar right there.
There you go.
So this song we're going to do really featured the Lyricon. I think it was the first time that you really got to play that thing, and we were so excited about it. This particular track, it was the first time we did a really moody piece of music, and very experimental for us. And Dan was a big part of it. So I didn't play drums on the track, but I'm going to play a little bit here. Try to keep you guys in line here.
Right. That's a good thing.
golden soul with red blood. For you I wore a crown of thorns. My yoke is easy if you love me. Is it red wine that you adore? Love is more than words.
Good one. Sounded great, Dan. Good job, you guys.
Good. Good job, good job.
So we're really happy to have Chris playing with us here. And Chris, you went out, you played some dates with us years and years back in the late 80s, mid 80s.
You played a New Year's Eve
late
gig.
80s, early 90s.
Remember that New
maybe?
Year's Eve gig you did with us? Where was that? Kansas?
Wasn't that the
94,
one?
you remember?
Wasn't that the one that we played in our pajamas? Was that one? It was like a lock-in. Remember, it was like a lock-in for like a high school all-night thing.
Well, no, wait. No, I don't think so because remember hanging out afterward. I have a picture in my mind.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I know we went to some bar afterwards, and it was some guy with a woman. Him and his lady were playing like a cheap synthesizer, singing covers. And he kind of looked like Dino Elefante.
So now we're alienating everybody as if, you know. Anyway, we've had a lot of bass players over the years. That's the one thing. Like,
Well, we're like the Spinal Tap of bass players. They've had the drummers. We've gone rounds with the bass players.
yeah, we've had a lot of bass players. We're going to do a thing online where everyone tries to guess. Like, if you include all the guys that played live with us, it's a really, really long list. But quite a few have what,
Yeah.
what are you doing, Dan?
We should almost do a contest. Like if somebody can accurately figure out how many bass players we had and who they were, wins like a trip to the Bahamas.
It would be hard to guess.
I'll enter that
Yeah.
contest.
Yeah.
But they have to have
I
it in
bet you-
chronological order, though.
But you might not even get it right.
I
We've had
wouldn't
so
do
many.
Didn't I play bass on one record or
Did you?
something?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know what? What was it? Didn't I play like the low Barry sax? That doesn't count.
No, that doesn't-
Yeah.
no, that didn't count.
Yeah.
But on this particular EP, we had a guy named Bill Batstone, and he was an outstanding musician. He was just in our band for a little while, and he played the bass, and he sang all these amazing vocals on this EP. It's probably as good of vocals as we've had on any record, and I'm trying to sing them here. You know, I'm gonna this next time I'm going for the high notes.
Are you?
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go. It's a risk. You know, I'm gonna take the risk.
I'm going to fast and pray. Well, Bill Bastone also he goes way back, but he played with Richie Furay.
You're right. He wrote.
Played with that, and he played for a while in the the redo of Poco.
Oh, I didn't know that. But he wrote that song with kind of a, but I still have dreams. That Richie Furay song. Nobody's old enough that's watching. Well,
No, they are. Our fans are that old. What do you
our fans might be old enough.
You're delusional. You're like thinking our fans are 20.
Yeah, I still want to get in a young skinny band. There's still time for me.
Yeah, I'll make a list of all of them that are asking you. Then you can choose.
Are there any questions, Lisa? Lisa, is there any questions that we should answer? We covered the bass player thing.
And then, this is important. Did
The Aquanet question. Well, it was the paint can. Everybody knows that. It was the paint can, the extra hold. And, well, I remember we saw the alarm open for U2 back in the early 80s, right? And that set the standard for tall hair.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the alarm had it.
They had the
and
tall
that was the aspiration from then on. And I remember I would, my hair, after this record, our hair got pretty long, and I would turn my head upside down, blow dry it, and then spray that, half a can of Aquanet on it, and then tease it into a tumbleweed, and stand up, and I could feel the top of my hair with my fingertips.
Right.
That was only in 1986 only, right? From
was like
1986, 1987.
That was like 1 year, yeah.
A lot of stuff. Remember that you and I got in that thing over that brooch? You wore that brooch? Somebody asked about the brooch.
On the cover.
Right.
On the cover, I'm wearing that
Is
brooch.
that a bolo tie? Is that a bolo tie
No,
or
it's a brooch.
No, it's a
Okay.
brooch. And
It's
I'm
a
like,
man brooch.
I remember Derry, I was being fashion police. I could be fashion police guy sometime. I don't know why. And I gave you some trouble about it. I go, that's
Yeah, you
so
hated
true.
that thing.
I go, it's going to be, I liked it at the time, but I thought on a record cover, we're going to look back on it. And I go, it's going to be trendy. It's going to be out of style in 2 years. And now I'm looking at it and I go, man, that brooch is so cool.
Yeah. Well, you also gave me a hard time for getting my ear pierced.
What?
And then, like, about 2 months later, you came back and you had 2 piercings in yours.
I have no recollection.
Yeah, that's true. Because you get, I'll tell you why. Because you gave me a hard time about it because Marley and I went and got him pierced at the same time.
Oh, right.
It's like when we were dating.
Right. Okay.
And then you're like, oh, you're going to get your ear pierced, huh?
You're a mean SOB, weren't you?
I'm not as mean as I used to be, right?
Yeah.
Do we all
That's
agree?
what I said.
That
You
does
were.
true.
No.
Were.
I know.
Well, you were just insecure.
No, what are you talking about?
Just a little insecure
What?
back then. I'm just saying, it was like, I wasn't afraid to
I just cared.
make the statement.
No, I just cared a lot.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to try this song. This is the hardest one. I don't know why we made it so hard on ourselves. Even Chris, who can play anything without any trouble, even you struggled just a little bit with this bass part.
Just making sure I have it correct.
Yeah, okay. You didn't struggle. No, you didn't struggle.
He didn't struggle.
But, you had to work on it just a little bit. It's a little tricky. It's a little tricky. All right, okay. All right. 1, 2, go.
He feigns a heart of passion and strains to empathize. He craves for hungry children, but tears don't fill his eyes. He calls on God in darkness and feels for their demise. He calls on God to save them. The tears don't fill his eyes. Tears don't fall, they don't fall down. Tears don't fall, oh, they don't fall down. Tears don't fall, they don't fall down. Tears don't fall, oh, they don't fall down. He wants to be a soldier, but not enough to die. He loves the man of sorrow, but not enough to cry. Tears don't fall, they don't fall down. Oh, they don't fall down. Tears
through it. I only messed up one lyric.
I didn't quite make that high note. I tried.
That's all right. You went for it.
I missed a lick.
You missed a lick
Missed
too.
a lick? No, you didn't, Chris.
You didn't miss a lick.
Did you make a mistake? Okay.
So you all equally missed a lick. It's weird. I have glasses and I can't. I'm reading the lyric and I really should be going like this to read it, and then I'm trying to figure out the right angle. So now, one thing about this EP too is we went in to do this record. We were going on tour with Steve Taylor,
Right.
and we went in to do the record and made the record. Had signed to a record company and then realized after the tour that we were going to have to get out of it. The deal was kind of not great, but we ended up going back and recording 3 of these songs off here with Mark Hurd in his mobile truck.
Right, we always liked the way it sounded with Mark Hurd. He was real natural. On this EP, I was kind of mad because it still sounded like a drum machine, even though I played everything. There's no hi-hat, and everything was all about the snare drum back then, you know. And everybody was sampling kick drums. Like, the engineer, like, they dropped a basketball from 2 stories high and recorded it on such and such, and we sampled it.
Off
and-
Bob Clear Mountain's roof.
Right, and we're going to trigger, your snare's going to trigger that sample and whatever. So it was all the snare drum, and the nuance was lost. So we go to Mark, because Mark always was, it just was natural, and I don't know why we never did a record with him. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I think we were kind of planning on it.
We were planning on it,
Planning on
but
doing one with
just-
him.
Whatever. But this last song on the EP for me was like a real turning point. I was learning how to be a lyricist, and you know, we always had the struggle, and most artists do, with the expectation. If you have a record company or you have people that you're an audience that has certain expectations, and we really struggled with it in the beginning. We started out and we came out of the context of bands that were playing music for ministry purposes. And of course, our parents were, Derry's dad was a preacher, and we came out of that context, and it was always a struggle, especially early on. And we never quite fit in, and we found out pretty quick that we weren't going to preach in between our songs or anything. But over the years, you know, we evolved, and that's another story. We'll talk about it as it goes on. But this song was really important to me because lyrically it was just very honest. And it's tapping into not trying to say anything to meet anybody's expectations, but just spiritually and everything. Just getting at peace with mystery and what we don't know. Yeah, so this is All Night Long. 1, 2.
There's a fire inside my heart. It's enough to light the way. But the sky is black above me, and I see in shades of gray. I see voices in the shadows, and I wonder what is true. I hear laughing, I hear crying, and sometimes I know it's you. All night long, I've been looking out my window. All night long, I've been hoping to see you. All night long, I've been praying for the morning. I've been looking out my window all night long. When I finally see the sun, will I know you as my friend? If I fail to see you now, will I recognize you then? I see faces in the shadow, and I wonder what to do. I see dancing, I see dying, and sometimes I know it's you. All if I fail to see you now, will I recognize you then? I see faces in my shadows, and I wonder what to do. I see dancing, I see dying, and sometimes I know it's you. All night long, I've been looking out my window. All night long, I've been hoping to see you. All night long, I've been praying for the morning. I've been looking out my window all night long. All night
Man, that went all too quick. That was quick.
Nice.
That's the Shades of Grey EP.
That's it.
All 5 songs.
Whole thing. 5 songs.
Dang.
So what are we gonna do? Are we gonna do Diamonds and Rain next
Yeah.
week?
Yeah, we should do
Yeah.
Diamonds and
Well, I need to get those Yamaha DX7 plugins.
Rain. Right.
You know.
There you go.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
the tip jar is for Dan to get the DX7 plugins for Diamonds and Rain next week.
Yamaha DX7.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
That's what a band is kind of like being on tour. It's like being in a marriage without counseling. You know, you need counseling pretty bad. But never get it. But most bands don't survive. That's why they don't last 2 or 3
We've
years.
worked it out over the years.
Yeah, I mean we've survived for 35 years and 18 albums somehow.
Oh my gosh. That's right. And we're so Deep Cuts, which is our next album, will be our 19th.
I think so.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. How are you
Yeah.
guys doing on that? How are you guys coming along with Deep Cuts?
Good. We've got a pretty good start.
Yeah, we got 7 or 8
In fact,
songs.
we're tracking another couple songs this week.
Yeah,
doing drums.
we're going in this week. We keep on working away at it.
Yeah.
And by the time the coronavirus is over, we'll have it ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think the plan is to try to get it out in October, maybe
Right.
September, October.
Yeah.
So, man, thank you for spending a part of your evening here in mine and Lisa's house here. We're in Brentwood, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
We still don't have a name for the studio yet,
Not
but Derry's working on
We'll
it.
figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure out something good.
Dirty Red Dog Studios.
I like
No.
that. Oh, yeah.
No, the Dirty Red Dog.
Maybe
No.
we should come
Yeah.
up with 3 or 5 names and let the people
Yeah.
vote on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What do
Yeah.
you think?
Right.
Yeah, and if they pick the one that I came up with, that I get a trip to the Bahamas.
Yeah, I know. I know. Oh, man. Man, it means so much that you spend a part of your evening here with us. So thank you for joining us on our Facebook page, Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Just tell your friends, give a share, give a like,
Yeah.
give a comment. If you comment in the thread, Steve, Derry, myself, Lisa, we'll pop on in there and answer your questions and talk to you a little bit more. So hang out afterwards with us, and we'll be there for you.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks very much.
Tip jar.
Yep.
There you go.